Hey everyone, Hunter here at Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage on this Thursday afternoon on January 2nd, 2025. A massive winter storm is moving in this weekend, bringing some very heavy snow, a significant crippling ice storm, and that is going to be followed by the coldest air of the winter season. We're going to be breaking down everything that you need to know in this weather forecast to prepare you for this massive winter storm this weekend. So subscribe to the channel if you're new, so you have the latest weather breakdown across your area this winter storm season. And again, we're going to be breaking down the winter storm here on this channel. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the post notification bell, so you are notified for any future live streams, videos, and anything on the community tab about this storm that I do put out. Also, like the video and share this video with friends, family, and on social media. That is very important to getting this information out to as many people as possible. Let's look here at present time. The local National Weather Service offices from the Central Plains back here to the Ohio Valley have already put out winter storm watches here in the Blues, extending back into central Kansas, southeast Nebraska, a couple counties there in far southwest Iowa, much of north central Missouri, central into southern Illinois, into central and southern Indiana, west central portions of Kentucky, and I think this is only going to expand further east. And also ice storm warnings will probably be issued very soon, as well as a significant crippling ice storm is likely on the table with this system. First, let's talk about the here and now in the short term. This afternoon, our temperatures are cold, winter-like up to the north. In the northern U.S., we are into the single digits and teens this afternoon. A slight breeze knocking down our wind chills below zero up in North Dakota, 13 below in some areas, and even some below zero single-digit wind chills into northwestern Minnesota as well. Otherwise, teens and 20s above zero with our wind chills from the northeast through parts of the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes region, and back there toward the Central Plains this afternoon. Looking at the precipitation, you're probably looking out your window there in places like Rockford, Illinois, Peoria, maybe the Davenport Quad Cities, and wondering, what's all that stuff falling from the clouds? That's snowfall, and we're seeing that here this afternoon. It's pretty light, though, but it could be giving us a coating of snow on the grass and any of those bridges and overpasses, so make sure to take it slow on the way home from work across these areas. We're also going to be seeing some lake effect snow over here into the eastern Great Lakes region, so keeping an eye on that. And a more vigorous storm system. This is the piece of energy moving in this afternoon that is ahead of our next major, massive winter storm that we're going to be seeing here. That's producing some heavier snows in the Cascades and the portions there, lower elevations of Oregon, seeing some pretty heavy rainfall. That'll continue into tonight. There's the snowfall, light to moderate pockets of snow. Indianapolis could get some snow. Effingham, Illinois, into the Champaign-Urbana area, Cincinnati, Dayton, Ohio, maybe as far south as Lexington, Richmond, and Kentucky could see some snow showers as we go into tonight. And this is just an appetizer compared to what we're going to be seeing as we go into the weekend. Would not be ruling out a half inch, maybe at worst case scenario, up to 2 inches worth of snow here from eastern Iowa through northern Illinois into parts of Indiana, Ohio. That'll extend over into western PA and into West Virginia as we go through your Friday time frame. Notice the prolific lake effect snow bands there into western New York State could be giving us a couple of feet of snow over the next 12 to 24 hours. This pattern here, just zooming it out, is the best pattern that I have seen in several years of tracking the weather here, and I've been doing it for quite some time. You can see the blocking pattern up to the north here of Greenland, and underneath we have the colder air. And again, this is the best pattern I've seen in quite some time tracking weather for an eastern winter type pattern here across the eastern United States. And it's going to be dumping down the cold air this weekend. Look at, you travel all the way up to Alaska and even further north from there, and you can track the origin of this cold air, and it's going to be dumping, seeping down through Canada into the eastern and central United States and priming the atmosphere for some cold weather. And again, here are your weather alerts. We have winter storm watches from central Kansas, southeast Nebraska, eastward, all the way into the Ohio Valley as we're gearing up for a significant winter storm that is going to unfold with some very heavy snow, some significant crippling ice, and also some severe weather on the southern side of the system we'll talk about toward the end of the video. Let's look at the precipitation going into tomorrow. This is when the weather balloons off the west coast will be able to sample some of the new data, feed it back into the models, and give us a more accurate depiction on the storm track, snow and ice amounts, and also rain amounts on the southern warmer side of the system and how severe some of those storms will be as well. So looking here at the low pressure, 1,002 millibars and just west of Seattle on Friday. Heavy rain there in Seattle, Portland, all the way down to Northern California. Heavier snows for the Cascades and the Northern Sierras. Going into Saturday, we got a 1,002 millibar low there just near Denver and the lee side of the Rockies. And we're starting to see some wintry precipitation here in the middle of the country. Big winter storm really starting to brew up there on Sunday, and then that will travel east on Monday before moving offshore on Tuesday. Let's look here at our temperatures behind that, because once that snowpack and that ice is laid down, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Arctic air will be settling in across the central and eastern U.S., going all the way really through the middle of January, through the 12th of January, and likely beyond at this point. And notice this model in particular kind of hinting at that snowpack. It's like a freezer. You have that snowpack on the ground, you're enhancing that cold air, and where you don't have the snowpack, the colder air is modified, but still very cold, if not Arctic still in variety across the east. Let's look at a more detailed breakdown of the central and the eastern U.S. Let's start in the central U.S. Saturday morning, we got some light freezing drizzle starting here in southern or central Kansas. The low at this point is back in the lee side of the Rockies in eastern Colorado. There we go, Saturday afternoon. We're going to increase the moisture, light freezing drizzle, light freezing rain across Kansas. That could move north as far as southern Nebraska, snow and sleet further north from there, rain and some thunderstorms further south from there into Oklahoma and Texas. Saturday night, I really start to get concerned about this ice storm threat across Kansas and over toward Kansas City here as well into central Missouri, starting to get some moderate rates of freezing rain Saturday night, and then really starting to fill in with the precipitation, with the snow here coming in on the backside there in Kansas Sunday morning. You might want to think twice about traveling to any church services on Sunday, especially if you were in this ice storm threat across eastern Kansas, central and southern Missouri, southern Illinois, and that'll really start to fill in further east as well. And then very heavy snowfall here on the northern side. Could be as far north as southern Iowa there, central Illinois, southeastern Nebraska, and there's going to be a sharp cutoff as well. The Arctic air is dry air, so it's going to cut off some of the northern shield of this snow. So places like Des Moines may only see a little bit of snow. Where you go about 50 miles south, you could see over 8 inches or 12 inches of snow as we go into Sunday afternoon, and that'll start to wrap up into Sunday night. Looking overall at snow totals here from Kansas eastward to central Illinois, good 8 to 12 inches is expected here. And we're going to be updating these totals over the next few days. So make sure, again, you are subscribed to the channel. But we are seeing some localized areas over a foot, foot and a half, approaching 2 feet in some of these areas here. So definitely some very heavy snowfall. The sleet here in orange could be seeing a couple tenths of an inch of sleet. Those are those ice pellets we talk about. And then in the pink, this is the freezing rain. Ice accretion, we could be seeing over a ½ inch of ice in some of these areas from central and eastern Kansas into central downstate Missouri, downstate Illinois, and over here into Indiana and Kentucky, that is for sure. Let's look at the eastern U.S. here in detail. Saturday morning, pretty dry. We have some flurries up here with some lake effect snow continuing throughout the day on Saturday. That'll continue in the afternoon. And into Saturday night, we see the precipitation back off here into the central U.S. So it's kind of calm before the storm in the Ohio Valley and the Mid-Atlantic throughout the day on Saturday. This is the best time to prepare for the weekend on Saturday. Go out to the store, get some salt here for the ice storm threat. Get your snow shovels ready, your plows ready, your snow blowers ready. We need that on Saturday. Gas them up as well. Sunday morning comes along. We got freezing rain introduced in western portions of Kentucky. Middle Tennessee, it's going to be tricky here in the Cumberland Plateau. I think we could have some cold air damming there that could be providing us that rain changing over to freezing rain and starting to freeze on contact from Nashville eastward toward Crossville in toward the Cookeville and Knoxville region, and maybe even as far south as Chattanooga on this model as well. We start to warm that up, so that should change some of those areas into middle and eastern Tennessee from freezing rain and drizzle over to regular old rain. The ice storm threat really near St. Louis and southward over here into the Carbondale area of Illinois, Effingham, Mount Vernon, over here into Evansville, Indiana, the Lexington, Richmond area, and also Louisville here kind of on that line between some snow, sleet, and freezing rain. Could have all 3 precipitation types there in Louisville at some point. Sunday night, very heavy ice storm across across northern Kentucky. I'm very concerned about the Lexington, Richmond area, Cincinnati, over here into the Evansville, Indiana area, into Louisville as well, Charleston, West Virginia. Very crippling ice storm. Then we go into Monday morning. This precipitation weakens a little bit, moves off to the east. Cold air damming, though, there in Virginia, down into the spine of the Appalachians, even into western North Carolina. We have to watch for a threat for some ice, some sneaky ice threats there in Monday morning. Monday afternoon, still some deformation snow on the backside, rain and some storms for the coastal Carolinas down into Georgia and Florida. And then Monday night, the system finally makes its way off the east coast of the United States. Here's the snowfall we're looking at across the Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, and parts of the Northeast. Again, another 8 to 12 inch swath here with some isolated spots seeing over a foot of snow here. Indianapolis is in play, Cincinnati's in play here, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton over here into Charleston, West Virginia, into the Parkersburg area, into Maryland, into Delaware, and also southern New Jersey with the heavy snow. Here's the sleet, couple tenths of an inch, maybe up to an inch of sleet there in northern Virginia, and then the ice storm threat. We could literally be seeing up to 3/4 of an inch of ice, if not a little bit more. Some of these areas in northern Kentucky, southern Indiana, southern Illinois, over toward West Virginia could literally be seeing up to an inch of ice accretion as we go into your Tuesday morning, and that's just going to be so crippling across that region. Widespread power outages. So again, make sure you have plenty of water and food here in case those roads are very treacherous into Tuesday and Wednesday. Looking at the rain side of the system, some pretty heavy rain down here across Dixie Alley where you see these pinks and blues. That's where we're seeing an inch plus of rain as we go through your Tuesday. Severe weather is going to be a concern from Memphis down into Jackson, Shreveport, Little Rock, down into Lake Charles, even down toward the Houston Metroplex. Very similar area to the storm system last week. I don't think it'll be as significant. I don't think we're looking at a moderate risk, at least right now, for severe weather, but definitely be prepared for damaging winds, large hail, and some tornadoes out there. That is for sure. Looking at the setup, look at all the dry air to the north. Negative dew points up into the upper Midwest, but we're into the 60s for dew points as far north as Memphis. That's going to fuel the atmosphere. Your convective available potential energy, your storm energy, is over 1,000 joules per kilogram, especially down further south and west toward the Houston Metroplex. We got a strong mid-level jet rounding the base of the trough here. Very strong low-level jet, especially for early January standards with the system. That's over 60 to 70 knots across the mid and lower Mississippi Valley. That's going to help to organize these storms, help to rotate these storms to become severe and produce some tornadoes. There's that complex of showers and storms we're concerned about, roughly from around Jackson, Tennessee, Memphis, back down all the way through to the Houston Metroplex Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening. Make sure to be on high alert and track the weather forecast with your local radar app, as well as some of those warnings could be coming out. Now, the AO, the Arctic Oscillation, going to be dropping like a rock here the first 2 weeks of January, and that's going to promise the cold air to stick around for the central and eastern U.S. all the way through at least the 12th of January, possibly even further than that toward the 15th, 16th, 17th time frame. So any snow or ice that we do get is going to be sticking around for a long period of time, and that's why we're so concerned about our ice storm threat, because that ice is going to be sticking around. Widespread power outages with ice amounts over a half inch, 3/4 of an inch really could make it crippling out there and could have some long-lasting power outages. The good news is we shift the storm track further to the south. The second week of January, Arctic air's dry air, that's going to push the storm track further down, even into Mexico at this point in South Florida and off the East Coast. Really right now, not looking at a huge northeast snowstorm, but there is the potential for any storm that can get organized off the southeast coast and move up here off the benchmark of Cape Cod just to the east by a couple 100 miles or so. That could give us some coastal snow here. Right now, it's not a guarantee, but it's a possibility as we go into the second week of January. And look at that, even some heavier snows down here into Texas and New Mexico and Louisiana potentially as well. Some of the same areas that have severe weather Sunday could see snowfall potentially the following week. So definitely a very crazy weather pattern to say the least. Subscribe to the channel for the latest weather information. Check back often for updates. Share this video with friends, family, and on social media, as we'll be tracking the winter storm for you all the way throughout the next few days. Like the video by giving it a thumbs up. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get to those after the video, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Thursday out there.